Hey, I'm just going to move you back. You're a little bit close. Oh, Khaleesi wants letting in. Khaleesi. So hi guys. I'm just going to move you back. So hi. We will just start in a minute, just while we wait for people to come. There we go. Yes. Yes, Missy. Hey guys. That's Miss Cleansy, Victory Pathway. She wants me to give her more food. You want more food, sweetie? That's Miss Cleansy, Victory Pathway. She wants me to give her more food. You want more food, sweetie? That's Miss Cleansy, Victory Pathway. Hey guys! Hey, Julia. Have to remember. Where is the camera? There. So hey guys. So hey, Bonka Bonk. Hey Kerry. Hey Malone. Hey Joa. Hey Abdina. Hey Alexander. Hi Timsy. Hi Roberto. Hi Claudia. Hi Alejandro. Alejandro. Hi Jalil. Hi Scott. Hi Rama. Hi Shakti. Hey John Hall. So hi guys, welcome to live stream. This is the first time that you've joined. Then you have to call me through Skype, which is Lisa Cairns 12. That's Lisa Cairns 12. You can ask questions or you can call. Make sure when you call you've got a good headset and microphone so the sound is good for everybody else. And I do these talks every Wednesday and every day is it? Every Sunday at 6 p.m. French time. So you can join me then. If you want to hear about my events, the events coming up is on Saturday. I do a retreat in Canars, Spain. There's a couple of places left, so you can still sign up. That's for a week. That's near Malaga. Then my next event after that is the 29th and 30th of April in Paris. I do two days of talks in Paris. Then after that, I do a retreat in the south of France. That's in June the 16th for a week in a very beautiful place in the south of France. All of those you can find on my website, which is www.lisacairns.com. And if you go to my website, you can subscribe to my newsletter and you'll get all the information about what I do. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel. So you go to my YouTube channel and press subscribe, and next to where you press subscribe there's a little bell, and if you click on the bell it will say send me notifications. So every time I go live you'll get a notification. You can click on that and you can watch. You'll get a notification, I think, in your email. I've shown you how to do that in other videos, but today that's not possible. I also do sessions as well that you can book on my website. I have a calendar on there where you can see times where I'm free, and you can just book it by yourself. And in the sessions, I either talk about non-duality with you, I do body work, or I work through some patterns in which you're getting stuck on, some seeking patterns which you're getting stuck on. So there's all the advertisement. So, the first question that I have from Scott. Wow, I need binoculars. I've got a different setup today. And let me make my display bigger. Bigger. Display. Okay, I'm experiencing a no self sort of state. Sometimes lately. It's way different than I thought it would be. It's like the person is gone and there's just lightness. But there is also impulse to act. I'm curious about this and would talk to you if it's in the flow. Thanks. Sure, just call me Scott if you want to talk.
Hi, good morning, or good afternoon.
Hey.
Is my sound okay?
I think so.
Oh, good.
Do you not have a headset?
Oh, I'm wearing a headset, but my microphone is separate.
Oh yeah. It depends. We'll see. People will start to complain if it's not okay. The problem is if you don't have a built-in, if you don't have a microphone in, what happens is it begins to feed back and loop. But it might not do that today. Everyone will begin to send me messages if it does.
Well, we can try.
Yeah. So hey, Scott, you wanted to talk about a no-self state.
Yeah, it's weird. It's as if this person that I'm used to being is just not there. It's like this density that I'm used to experiencing all the time is gone, and I'm just in a sort of field of light, and yet it has some direction to it.
Yeah.
And like I'll have an idea of something to do and I'll just go do it, but it feels like a risky decision to step out of myself. I don't know, I've been doing spiritual stuff for a long time, and I never thought it would
be
like this. I always thought I would get something for myself, you know, like get enlightenment and get experiences and get this. But it's the opposite. It's like getting nothing and not having myself anymore. But it's way better.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's totally different because everything that you'd ever imagined it to be was pleasure and a thing. It'd always been something.
Yeah, it's just nothing. And yet it's something. I don't know.
Is there a problem, though, with it?
No problem at all. Uh, I mean, there's fear of going further into it.
What are
For
you?
example,
Yeah,
I am totally addicted to video games,
yeah.
and I feel like keeps me it keeps me out of that state.
Of playing video games.
Yeah, I feel like the part of me that doesn't want to let go can do things from the self that I'm used to I don't know, just talking about it, I feel sort of heaviness and kind of a sadness and like a paralyzing, heavy, mucky sort of fear. It's interesting. It's like there's a dark swamp that I'm in now. With a familiar feeling of myself, like a really old feeling from childhood of aloneness
Yeah,
and darkness and a sort of paralyzing terror. And it feels like me, like like I don't know why, but like when I first became me, this is the feeling. Hmm. I'm attached to this state.
yeah.
Something about it wants me to hold on to it. And I don't know why I wouldn't want to let it go.
Yeah.
because it sucks.
It's just,
But
it's like a
yeah,
habit.
yeah, I have it, and the terror is compelling.
Yeah,
It's compelling to believe it.
yeah,
If I let it go, if I move a muscle, wow, if I move a muscle, then I'll be seen and just annihilated.
yeah. And what seems to happen when that collapse is happening and when it's breaking through is that everything becomes so sensory. You feel everything. So when that terror comes, like before, it used to come as a deadness in the background, but then when it actually comes, it's really big. You really feel it.
Yeah, it's like going into a whole world.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way, it's a fascinating world. I guess what I mean is I'm curious about the whole scenario.
It's only sensation, that terror. I know that sounds like a bit of a easy thing to say when you're not experiencing it, but it's only sensation. It's not real.
Wow. Yeah, as you say that, it's like a cartoon that I've written and that I watched, as intense as it is. I'm just having this sense of who I was when I was a little kid, and what it was like, and how that's continued on ever since in the subconscious.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like being music playing in the background, you know, like when you're in a lift.
Yeah. Constant music in the same song over and over and over again.
Like a horror film.
Fucking, yeah. Very much like a horror film. Boy, I want to live in a horror film all the time. It's funny that just before I started to experience this, I was noticing these impulses to act that kind of came from light. And it seemed like they were coming from some place other than what I was used to. You know, like sitting at the computer and feeling this light and seeing light outside, and just very occasionally acting on that. And it felt totally different from any way I'd tried to live before. And it seemed like I started to go with that more often, almost in spite of myself. You know, it almost seems like something took over my mind, or, you know, took some of my normal decision making and pushed it aside and just kind of started to come in instead of that old self. Thanks for talking to me. This is really interesting.
That's a pleasure.
It's just funny how, I mean, fuck, man, since I was 11, I've been trying to do something about my state of mind. I'm almost 50 now. And how funny that it's so opposite to what I was doing. And sad, too, you know, to be stuck in that state and try to do something from within it. And I could only stay lost, you know, even in all kinds of spiritual ways. I feel like something to do with my heart, like falling into a pit, but more in a conscious way. like I have a little tiny voice in my heart that can barely be heard, and just underneath all this heaviness, like a whole world of this fleshy sort of heaviness. And I'm a little voice, tiny little voice, all the way in the center of it. Like I am that voice. Sounds, I'm embarrassed to say it, but I just want to, there's a song I just want to sing from there. I mean, it's really sad. You know, it's like the song of my life. I really want to be able to live. The song isn't sad at all. The song is like, in that place in the heart is beautiful. Looks like all these colors of light coming out with the voice. And it's as if it, like a whole world comes out of that sound. A beautiful world comes out. Like there's some place in my heart that's, or almost that I am, that a world comes out of in this song, and it just comes out of there into existence. But it's sort of like it's a cartoon at the same time. Was that like the song of the Veda? You know, how do we sing a song from the deepest place of the heart that becomes a whole world? You know, is that what it is to have existence? You know, it's love, and yet it's way different than love as I would normally mention the word. You know, it is joy, but not associated with anything. It's like an act that I mean, in a way, it's timeless, but it's not. It's right now, and it doesn't even Sounds like rhetoric that I've been listening to, but it doesn't even exist. I wonder why it's the heart. Why is there a song of the heart? It's as if the heart is the center of everything. Or like it's the only thing. You know, from there, life seems like a dream. But a beautiful dream that has reality because it is what is. And I have to go to work.
Whereabouts do you live, Scott? I know it's somewhere in Canada, I think.
Oh, no, I live in Half Moon Bay, just south of San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, your accent sounded really Canadian to me, but what do I know? Like a...
Yeah. I know I have kind of a funny voice.
Nice. Oh, that's beautiful listening to you.
With you, and then have the added focus to be able to experience something like that. Thank you so much. This is probably, it's the most beautiful thing that I've ever experienced.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you, Lisa.
Always
Thank you very
pleasure.
much.
Thanks, Scott. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Julia. Hi, John. Hello, love. Last time you're complaining about that I asked you 2 difficult questions and giving me a meta answer instead of answering my actual question. Now I tried again asking you more easy, and I hope that you will not bypass the real question in my question. So now I know that you can negate your statements like there is God or there is no free will without a problem, saying that those that are not your reality but just tales to you, and you just say those because people think the opposite to those. I do not think that those statements can be negated without the act of bullshitting, but I can be wrong. I think saying these things of the opposite of those things is something, but saying and negating those at once are worse than not to say anything. And now I'm afraid the next time you will negate these statements, what you think, the experiencer, that is just the experience. The space is the pain or the war zone. The peace is in the pain or the war zone. You are eternal being. There is unity. You are God. I don't think I've ever said the word unity. I think you're quoting from other teachers. I just can't imagine me saying unity. 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 It's a nice name. Unity. Whether is unity real to you at least, or is that just to a tale to say something to people thinking the opposite? Can you define a group of things of your teaching? What is separate from your negation mind fucks in that those things are reality and you will never degrade them to tales for adults? Be happy, lovely one, but actually that's not the reality to me, that I wish you happiness. I just wrote that because you would expect just the opposite from me, being someone who thinks that God hates us all. Well, your question was very humorous today. Oh. You saw my tonsils. I did too much exercise today. Didn't we, Khaleesi? We helped my friend move. We did a long walk this morning, and then we just did another one. The body is tired now. So, okay, so open eye Han. Here we go, open eye Han. Open eye Han. All there is this. All there is what's happening. What more can I say? I can say a lot more, I'm sure, but, we start with that. The reason that Huffins suffer, the reason that humans suffer is because they believe there's somebody moving in time, and they believe that somebody that's moving in time, everything it thinks and feels is reality and true. It believes that space and time is true, and that it's moving through space and time, and that it's in a relationship with the world. But that's a lie, and deep down that's known in the human. That's a lie. So there's always this seed of discomfort. So with this seed of discomfort, the person tries to seek to find the ended discomfort. But it can't, because it always looks in having a particular feeling, having a particular emotional reaction, having a particular life, a particular amount of money, finding safety in time, securing its future, having relationships, children, all these things in order to try to get on track, because it always feels a little off track and it never can find it. So it's ultimately always in a state of dissatisfaction. But in order to get rid of that state of dissatisfaction, it keeps on looking and looking and looking and looking in things, even in therapy, even in spiritual practices, because it thinks that will be it. I will arrive by doing that. A new thing that it does in time, and this is nothing to do with someone in time, this is talking about freedom that's right here. And I know I now give practices in time, but it's too hardcore what I'm saying now for the person. It's too painful to hear that this has got nothing to do with you, that there's a boundless freedom that the you is appearing in. But what happens is that separate person takes that as an offence against itself and validates that it's victim and helpless. And so then it just uses that to carry on a mentality where this isn't even meant to touch the human. It's not meant to say anything to the human. It's speaking about what's beyond you, what's much bigger than you. But the human takes it on board. And often takes it on board to just fulfill its story of whatever it believes about itself, whatever it believes it needs to get or be or do. Everything is a gift from God. Every word, every action, every touch, every sensation, everything is appearing from God directly as it is, as the experience. And this experience is still not moving and moving. It's boundless and nothing, not a thing. Doesn't matter about my words. Fuck my words. Fuck my words. Fuck all spiritual teachers' words, especially those ones that seem really, really spiritual. You can just put them in the toilet paper, put them in the toilet, and then flush the toilet. They mean nothing. This is what means something. This, what's actually happening. This is where God is, in the experience, in this. Fuck spirituality. Fuck it. Fuck all your peaceful, nice attitudes that believe it's just in peace or just being nice. It's about being radically, uncompromisingly yourself. Whatever you are in that moment, whatever appears, and a total surrender to that. Not a surrender to your image of someone that's enlightened, not a surrender to your image of someone that's peaceful. Being the peaceful person is the easy character. That's the most powerful one. Oh, I can be peaceful all the time. That means that all world problems and all arguments between humans belong to someone else because I'm the peaceful, nice one. People always say, oh, you seem so peaceful and you seem so kind and what else do they say? Patient. That's the word, patient with people. But are you aware of what we all do as humans? Are you aware that just by me, as a white woman sitting in this environment and this life, the majority of the world is in poverty? And I know it, and you know it. You pretend you don't know it. And we live in a society which tortures animals, and every time we go to the supermarket, we see all their dead bodies, all around the supermarket, and all of us ignore it. All the products that we walk past or buy aren't ethically traded in this society. We let our bosses, the ones that run our society, screw over other people, pay them unfair wages so we can have it cheaply and we can sit at home and watch TV and spiritually seek. And I'm part of that. So you still want to call humans peaceful or nice, or this idea of an enlightened person? We're not good or bad. We are as we are. But fuck peace. It's not to do with being peaceful. It's not to do with this human world, because you cannot be a perfect human. Look at the society we live in. It's built on guts and death. We grow from death. We grow from eating dead things. Even if it is a vegetable. Don't lie what this is. This is why I love this image from Tibetan Buddhism of the skulls. And then you have the idea of spirituality, that you get enlightened and you're this nice person. This ethical person. It's untrue. The freedom is way beyond that. The freedom is what's happening. And then this instrument is as it is. It's here to survive. It will play games. It will manipulate. It will want the biggest piece of cake. That's what it does. It will stop hating, which is huge, because when you're separate, you hate life for having taken something away or not given you something, and you can hate things. So you have this lover and it doesn't fulfill you, so you hate it for not fulfilling you. They just say one bad word and you hate them. It doesn't hate anymore, but it's still human. Still can get angry, still can get sad. But it's not the person that gets liberated. There's something that's experiencing this right here, that's immediate, that's huge. It's in what's happening. And if you feel really separate and you feel like you're suffering, then move your attention into the actual experience. Move your attention into what's happening. And if the feelings are uncomfortable, give them some attention. Welcome them in. But put the attention in this, in the I am. Because this is where it is. This is it. This is it. But no, while you're moving attention to this present moment, that's not actually who you are. That is being experienced by boundless freedom, by this presence, consciousness, boundlessness. You're always going to upset people if you've got this idea that you want to be nice. Because people are looking to get freedom from you, no matter whoever you interact with, they're always looking to get something. They're seeking. So therefore, as soon as you don't give them that freedom, which you never can, they're always going to think you're not nice, you're withholding something from them. So give it up. Just be as you are. But crazy. not crazy, nice, not nice. I'm not talking about being mean. Being mean comes from separation. I'm talking about who you are in this moment. This moment. I'm not encouraging meanness. I've met so many mean people in non-duality. That they're separate and they use non-duality to say it's okay to be an asshole. That's who I am. But normally the being of the asshole, the being really mean to people, is because you're still trying to seek for freedom from them. So somebody just put me a message saying, Lisa, you're being so mean today. You only see me in that light because you have something you want me to be. In this moment, it's not mean or not mean. This energy that's speaking isn't coming from a hatred, isn't coming from a seeking. So therefore, it's not being mean. It's just expressing in this moment. See that the reason that you interpret things as mean from someone is because you need them to be a certain way for you, and it's got nothing to do with the other person. You need them to get something from. Listen to me in this instant, this buzz of this amness, of this beingness, right here in what's happening. If your attention's all over the place, just put your attention into the body, into the sensations, into that amness, into the presence, and see that home is here, but you're so used to believing home is in time. Whatever I'm making you feel in the timeline is to do with you that's looking for things from that timeline. So you're looking at me as a woman that can give you something. You're looking at me as a teacher that can give you something. Right here, the true language that I'm speaking is a radical aliveness, a buzz of beingness. It's got nothing to do with you. It doesn't fulfill you on a personal level. It doesn't make you feel safe or loved or secure. It's this radical aliveness that's buzzing, that's experiencing itself, that's instantaneously knowing. It's in what's happening. It's so exciting. 1st of March. The 1st of March. Okay. How beautiful tears come. I'm eager, bumblebee, to speak with thee. Hey, Patrick. Hey, Wow, there's lots of people that want to speak today. Phyllis says, the bad old radical, you have resurfaced. Bravo la vie. I have become more radical. Oh, I love the radical, Phyllis. The radical. Yes, I see this, J-O. J-O-O. Felix. Felix. Okay, so there's lots of people that want to speak, but let me try to pick someone that I don't think I've spoken to before. Oh, that's always risky though, because you never know how intense the person's going to be. Into the toilet with all words, great. Keith, it's in what's happening. What's it? Is it what's really being looked for? There is no more I. There was never such thing as an or I, a person or a thing that needed protecting, saving to improve. Just life as it is, and what begins from there is living the infinite play. For the body organism, it lives on, but more alive and free than ever before, without the restraints of its once thought limitations of mind. Thank you for being a very influential and great teacher on this journey. Hey, with pleasure, Liam. That's beautiful. You wrote that beautifully. With pleasure. Thanks for sending the message. Hi, Ramona. The person who is saying you are so mean today is joking. Oh, okay. Joking. Got to be joking. Or maybe this person was serious. I think you're sweet and super mean also. Woohoo! Hey, Lisa, can I call? Hey, Cosma. So I'll just read this last written question and then I'll take a call from someone. But there are lots of people trying to call. It's really, I know I make jokes, but it's really nothing personal if I don't get around to speaking to you. Normally there's lots of people that want to speak. I tried to look to see if last time I spoke. Jervis. Hi Lisa, thank you so much for your live streams. I enjoy them so much. I would love to hear about your journey into teaching speaking. Since my awakening, I've felt huge calling to speak about non-duality, and I know I'm not ready yet, and I have looked at any stories surrounding that movement, and I don't think I see any. So I guess I'm curious, how did you start speaking? What was your first time like for you? You're amazing, thank you. Oh, also, can you please not use my name? Oh, sorry, I've already used it, but I think I didn't even pronounce it right, so hopefully nobody heard it. So what was the journey into speaking like? Well, it was really sudden. My friend was very sick. So shortly after the last big awakening, there'd been many awakenings before, but the last big one, he was very ill. And at that time, I had a lot of free time. So he couldn't drive anymore, but he still had a business, his own business. So I was driving him around. And when we were in the car, I began to speak with him. And it came out really naturally. And we had so many beautiful conversations. And through him and his encouragement, that's how I began to start speaking. And it happened really quickly. So the last big awakening happened, and I started speaking. He started getting ill almost as soon. He was supposed to be a bit ill before that last big awakening, but like about 2 months after that last big awakening. Maybe it was, like in retrospect now, maybe it was a bit quick to start speaking, but at the same time I see it as so perfect. It was really perfect for this character because my tendencies is low self-esteem before the awakening, and still sometimes that runs through this system of not wanting to put myself in the limelight and not wanting to step out or step up. I can be a hermit character and I can be a very good loner. And so speaking has like shoved me out of the cave and really made me have to face relationships with people and relating and talking about this. So on my perspective, it was so beautiful journey that life did that. And I never, ever would have believed this would be something that I would do. Never. I never once thought this would be my job. Even when I was awakening and listening and going to lots of talks, I never imagined myself the teacher. I always liked being listening to the other person. I liked not having the attention, basically, not having to say anything and to listen. And and this has really pushed me above and beyond my comfort zones, being in the limelight and speaking with people. But it's really effortless when you don't have an objective. So I've never had an objective with speaking. It just kind of naturally happened, and I don't have an objective. Maybe sometimes when I'm doing live talks, not the online talks, but when I'm doing live talks, the objective might be, if there is any, to get the expenses covered. And maybe there's been an objective at points to cover my living costs. I don't really have very high costs. But I never once have advertised something in order to make money. It's kind of just happened like that. But obviously the money's been involved with it, but I've never had that mentality around it. And at first, I only did invitations. I thought that that I should only do it when people ask me, and I thought that that this was the ethical way to do it. Like I was never pushing myself out there. It was only when people asked me. And after time, I changed that, and I started organizing it, or I started to initiate the organization, because when I was in control or I was the boss, then I had all freedom of what I could do. When other people were asking, inviting me, then, they might not be happy if I sit down, which I have done. I've done so many talks now, and I've just sworn the whole time. I once did this thing where I went to this really spiritual place, and I just follow the feeling as to what's got to happen. And then I sat there and I was like, fuck, cunt, bloody, fuck, cunt, wanker, shithead, bollocks, tits. And I just did it for the whole hour. And I remember my friend had come to the talk as well, and they were like, and actually the organizer was super cool about it. I couldn't help it. It just is what came out. And so now by doing all the organization, I have all the, like, I can't be asked not to do things, which happens when other people are the organizers. So now I have all the control of it, which is really nice. Or there's more of a freedom of it. And I never have a motivation to save people, even though when I'm immediately speaking with them, there is great compassion that arises that wants to be able to express to them and communicate. And it is compassion and love. I don't really have an agenda. I don't have an agenda of I'm going to fix this person and I'm going to give this message to the person. I just sit there and do my thing and then get up and go and have my dinner. And I don't really have a message. I just kind of speak and don't really think about it the rest of the time. And the speaking changes. And I grow into it. I grow into this role because it takes a lot of strength as a woman to do this role. And it brings up pain. It brings up fear sometimes. It brings up sadness sometimes. It brings up great joy, ecstasy, love, compassion. All these different feelings. Wow, just thinking about everything that I've been through as a speaker the last 7 years, 7 years, there's so much. So much. She says, I love hearing about it. Teachers don't often speak about being teachers. It's so intense being a teacher. You have all these people believing that, firstly, that you're some God that never has feelings or never has reactions. They have all these expectations of you. Honestly, if you haven't had big awakenings and there isn't a good grounding in it, then I would stay away from speaking because it's so intense. You haven't got a job like it. There's no other job, I don't think, where people expect so much of you. People expect a lot from you as, say, an actress or a singer or something. But also they expect you to be like a godlike creature that's beyond being human. Like people expect you to not have any wants or desires or any feelings of sadness or fear or whatever feelings that come up, or jealousy or anger or insecurity. And all of those feelings can come up. All of them. And it takes such strength and such power in that. And then from the outside, especially when you're a woman speaker, because of the way our society is, and it's not a comfortable stereotype that I'm sitting here speaking as a young blonde woman, what happens when society is confronted with a stereotype they're not comfortable with is it brings up a lot of anger and fear in them and violence. They're not even conscious of it, but it's what happens, when with gay people, with black people, with racism. All of it confronts our stereotypical view of life. And when humans are confronted like that, that's often the reactions they have. So I can have really, as a woman speaker, firstly, that's really rare to be a woman speaker in Nonduality and a young woman speaker. It can really confront people's projections of what this needs to look like. And also because I can be passive, and I can, when I lose my temper, I can be angry and very firm, but that's not very often. It takes a lot to get me to lose my temper. And it's normally, if I lose my temper, it's around injustice or something. But the rest of the time I'm very passive. And if you're very passive, then the pushy people will push over you. So there's so much that you have to deal with as a speaker that you have no idea is going to come before. You have no idea about these little details. Sending you so much love. Thank you. So helpful what you said. Hope we can speak again. Yeah, I sense that, what it brings up in people for sure. Wow. Yeah, it's really something stepping out there and being a teacher. It's like, it's really, because you still have the old conditioning of this body. You know, these bodies have been seekers for a long time, so they've still got patterns. So also because of my dyslexia, and also because of my passivity, I have a tendency to not be too pushy with the ideas. And often a response comes up is, I don't know what the answer is. People are like, how can you not know? And until you've had these awakenings, it's hard to understand, firstly, that you can have all types of feelings, and that these conditioned instruments still have their old patterns, even though it's different. Because people can only imagine enlightenment as not experiencing that which they don't want to experience. So they see anger or jealousy or fear, all these things as the problem. But actually the problem is this energetic separation. It's not those things as such. If you look at animals, like Khaleesi gets all of those feelings. She's always very insecure whenever I pick up something in the house, because I'm diagnosed with dyslexia, but I most probably have something called dyspraxia as well, which means that it seems to be amplified with the awakening. Drop things. My poor neighbour's underneath, and I see her as soon as I get up and go to pick something up. She's like, oh, she's picking it up again, and it's like regularly, daily. There's something that gets dropped, and it's normally got a plate full of food on it, or a drink, or a tray of stuff. It's funny. So thanks for the question. That's a lovely question. People don't normally ask that, what it's like to be a teacher. It's full on. You can't imagine. Like last year I did a 2-week retreat, which was the first time I did this. I did it all by myself. I had no other teacher. I think it was 27 people did it for 2 weeks. And intense emotions came up. And also I had Khaleesi there, so I was looking after Khaleesi. It was so much work. I came to the conclusion I can only do that again while working with another person. It's too much work for one person. But it was amazing, and it was so beautiful for seeing the transformation of people. But I was exhausted afterwards. Exhausted. Yeah. Like everything came up. And then it would be like things would happen in the group, like social things and getting on and stuff. And I'd sit there and be like, I've learned so much about psychology being a teacher, the psychology of humans. Hi, Monica. Hello, Lisa. Sending lots of love to you. And thank you so much for sharing this every week. With pleasure, Monica. I really love doing the Ustreams. They're most probably my favourite way of communicating. Most probably because I can just get out of conversations by saying bye and hanging up. And when I'm in a live talk and there's you can't get out of conversations, you really have to face it with people. That's part of the reason, most probably. I can be more hermit-like here. And also, I'm And I can direct it away from too heavy energies sometimes. When you're in a public talk, you can't always, especially if it's a small public talk and somebody's got really heavy energy, you just have to really deal with it. And because I'm an empathy character, it's like you really go into it with them. But also I love the intimacy of this. There's something so much more formal about doing a public talk, whereas sitting in your lounge, this is a sofa, by the way, someone was asking me what this is, sitting on your sofa, your dog's sitting next to you farting away. There's something very sweet about that makes non-duality really not spiritual or religious or holy. It makes it a really like normal thing in which all humans will be moving to soon. If someone like this body-mind mechanism can have these awakenings, trust me, you all can. You all can. Lisa, you're looking exceptionally pretty today. New camera. New camera. I'd love to say it's me. Oh no, actually it's not. I had my hair done. That was it. I went to the hairdressers yesterday. So yes. But I'm also using my iPad camera. Got a new setup. New speakers. You see, they're there instead of my breasts. My breasts shrunk to this, to two little speakers. Stop! I don't know if you're watching Tanya and Delango. This is the dual microphone, and it works with my iPad. It's a dual microphone, which is what we were missing, and it came a day after I left to India, and it works perfectly, and it's a great sound. So I could have had one for the audience and one for me, and it's huge. But instead, I've just replaced them as two nipples. Happens. Whoa, thank you so much for sharing this, how it is for you to give these talks. Yeah, it's I mean, there's so many details. Like so doing the talks. And I also retreats, I think I love the Ustream. I also love doing retreats as well. The one for 2 weeks was really a lot of work for me, but there's something really beautiful about seeing people every day for a whole week and watching them open up. It was so amazing on the 2-week one, watching people open by the end of it. There's something really special about that as well. My least favourite is just doing one-night talks where you just turn up a venue, blah, blah, blah. I feel so commercial and like a bit impersonal. So I tend to do a lot less of that now. Yeah, the other thing that's difficult when being the speaker is that I'm not seeking anymore. I still have my karmas coming up and my issues that are working their way out and doing their thing, but I'm not seeking. So I'm not seeking to get love or to get safety from anyone or anything. There's nothing out there which can give me anything. And then there is this sense of huge love for everything that comes with that when you're no longer in that trading position. And so that's also an interesting dance, because people that come to the talks are still seeking, and they believe that you can give them something really important. And so it's like you have to watch a lot of heartbreak, because they have you as it's like this high up person that can give them something, and you can't. It's in them, it's that I am. And you have to see them go through the stage of disillusionment. And it's really important that they do, because it's not in anyone else. Even though I'm the speaker and I'm the person at the front, I'm actually speaking your own love song. I'm reminding you of yourself. That's why you're attracted to it. It's actually nothing to do with me at all. So just like with music, there's music that you're attracted to and not. And it's not to do with the musician, it's to do with what your heart is resonating at. And what your heart is resonating at is that boundless freedom. This right here, this intimacy of what's happening. This is it. This is it. But the mind gets confused and says, it's Lisa, and it's not. It's nothing to do with me. This is old seeking patterns that have formed from childhood, and it's normally about where you didn't get love from your mother or father, or where you felt you needed love and security as a child, just being repeated again and again and again until it's seen that love, security and home is never found in a behavior, a thing, a feeling, a sensation, a sight. It is the nature. It is the nature. Hello? Just checking the sound. Okay, so who would like to call? Don't worry, I've got you. It was quite an answer, but you still do not speak clearly enough. Ah, thank you, lovely thing. That's from Open Eye, hun. Speak clearly or not? To speak clearly or not? Or not? No. Okay. Forget it. That doesn't make sense. So just send me a message. You're on a roll, I know. Honestly, lately I've got such a gob on me. You might only know that word if you're English. But gob as in like, I can't stop speaking. As soon as we get onto the subject, it's like... I sit there at the beginning. That's often why I'm in silence. And I'm like, yeah, I've got nothing to say. Nothing to say. And then it's like, you can't... Basically, all I've got to say is this is it. Freedom's here. And I can spend 2 hours just on and on and on. Can I ask you a question? Do I call you or do you call me? I can call you, Ramon. Hey, Ramon. Freedom's here, and I can spend 2 hours. You have to just. I'm just going to turn the volume off just while you turn me off. And I think you need to have your headset in as well with a microphone. Keep doing this; it will keep switching everyone's video off. Oh, hey, Ramon. Hello. That I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake, and I haven't. You do that, that's going to blank everyone's video out. Oh, he's not listening. Are you there, Ramon? I can't hear you. No sound. But remember, guys, if you want to blank everyone's video out. Hello. Oh, he's not listening. Hello, Ramon. Remember, guys, you're really bad at remembering. You've got to have a headset with a little microphone in it. You'll have got one free with your iPhone or with your smartphone. Hey, hey, Ramon. Okay, Ramon, you practice your sound and then I'll call you back. Okay, who else would like to call? I want a smile or call. So just, if you just want to call, just send a message. I don't know what will happen if I go in and close Skype on the iPad. Me. Okay, Zach T. Let's go. Hey. Hey, Zach.
Hey.
Hey.
I wasn't sure if you'd call me because we spoke.
Yeah.
One moment, let me pause YouTube here.
Yeah.
Can you see me?
I can see.
So,
Just hang on. Let me just go on to block calls. Yeah. Hang on. Why are they still managing to call? Yeah. On the stream. But they keep, every time they call on the iPad, they block the vision for everyone. There's always some technical thing that I've not taken into consideration. Okay, so guys, if it gets cut off, I'll come back on, but I'm going to have to quit Skype on my iPad. So 1 second, guys. Okay. That seems to be okay. Yeah, it worked. Okay, now I'm all yours, Zach.
Okay. So I'm not sure how to phrase it. I'm trying to be as like real as possible.
Yeah.
So I'll just say
Have we spoken before?
last week,
We
just
did.
by text because the video wasn't working, remember?
Ah, yeah.
And you said about, like I said, how there's like a black hole when I try to look in, and you said and I said all this junk comes up.
Yeah.
And you said you need to die to that a million times
Yeah.
if you know. And I've been thinking about that a lot. But I think for me, the only thing I care about, to be honest, is that I just want a safe space to stand away from the bad stuff that happens in life, or I want to disappear so there's no one here to be
Yeah.
who suffers from it. To be honest, like I don't care about the truth. I just want to be safe, and I know I can't be.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Well, there is safety in that I am and in seeing who you truly are, because that's never born or dies and is never affected by anything. But in the human world, which is where you're looking for safety, there is no safety. In the human world, everything always moves. So you have to find that which never moves. And this is where home is.
That sounds so tricky because this is all so loud.
Yeah.
You know, this world, this appearance and the emotions and the thoughts.
Is there anything that you could perceive in any way that's always present? That always is, even though everything else comes and goes?
I don't know. You know, I've talked to other teachers and they've actually gotten frustrated with me because they're like, well, surely you know that you're here, right? And I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you then. And I'm like, oh, crap. I don't know what that means.
Okay. So then we have to go into the psychology of why that's happening in you. So, because the person resisting or the behavior that you're displaying in response to the non-dual message will just be the response of the personality, which is set up a certain way. So what part of your personality is resisting this? And this will be something that you'll be able to see as a pattern, the way you respond to people. So at the moment, I get the sense that your response is no.
To no to what question?
To things. Maybe it's changing, but you've got your response is keep back, keep it out. And I presume that's your pattern in relationships, in job, in lots of circumstances. Although don't let me put words in your mouths, because this psychologically, in terms of psychology, this would be like me pushing my ideas onto you. So you've got to go and investigate if this is true. But sometimes it's so much easier for me to just say it than to try and get you to say it. But I could try to get you to say it more. I could be. So why? What is the response? So your response to it when somebody's asking you about that investigation, what is the feeling that comes up in your body?
Well, it's peace, but I don't see any. The question is like the sense of self or whatever. It just doesn't appear that there is one. There's just thoughts.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's anyone here.
Yeah, there isn't. But that's not satisfactory to you. That's disturbing in some way, or.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, right now it's so frustrating because as soon as I'm speaking to somebody like you, all this stuff runs and hides, and it's hard to access again. But like later today, it's going to be in full force, so it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
No, you know what? It's not satisfying, and it still feels like I'm not. It's all about protection for me.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of loss. I'm afraid of. It's scary to be a little person here in this big universe. It's terrifying, and it's horrible in a way from a certain perspective.
So what you need to do on the psychological level is you need to explore that bit that in your story a bit. So on the psychological level, you need to do some investigation into where you feel that feeling of fear, and also when you first started feeling fear and what's happened to you. Because more than likely that fear is more pronounced in you, partly because you're into this subject, but also partly because when you were younger you had a fright and something scared you. It could be a really small fright, but something scared you, and then you've repeated the pattern of being more afraid, and you've got more associated with fear. So you need to investigate that sensation of fear and where it came from. So the first time that you experienced that feeling of being afraid of being in relationship to this big wide world.
I mean, I know exactly what it is. I feel like I've been down that road. I saw it. It was so clear. This little kid's scared, crying on the stairs as his parents fought, and there's alcoholism and all kinds of scary stuff. It's obvious. So now what? It's just.
But the thing is this is where it begins to get really tricky, because so first of all you've got to feel it, but you've got to see that your side effect thought of now what comes from the same pattern, because that keeps you small and afraid and sitting on the stair. So it's like that no is still from the same pattern. You have to see through all of this. You might never change it. I also had a lot of abuse in childhood as well, and I still experience fear in relationship with certain behaviors, a lot of fear. And now it's even worse, the fear. I feel like my body, when I experience a sensation, it's so big, but it's free because there's a movement to who I truly am. But to an extent, you have to see through these fears that they're not true, that these stories aren't true, because otherwise they can't play unconsciously and they're perceived as true, and then there's total involvement of them. So they have to become thin enough to see the freedom in them. But that mentality that you're presenting to me is still the mentality of victim, and you're not that. You aren't the victim. I know that when you've had a fright, particularly from some childhood, it's going to be the biggest battle of your whole entire life, pulling yourself out of that. It's so hard. We should have freaking disability benefits. like not disability as in we're disabled, but we should have benefits to help us readjust to this bloody society after being so traumatized. It's really hard when you haven't come from a steady upbringing. But if it hadn't been, you'd have never got into this subject. The people that get into the subject normally have to have had that, especially this young. I don't know how old you are, but you look younger than me.
Maybe like 2 years. I'm 31.
5 years.
Oh, okay.
But not so much. You're not even a generation apart, but so quite close. You must be 86.
85.
85. Okay, so you've got to go into that sensation of fear, but also see your victim stories on that's saying no. And as that begins to loosen, you'll begin to see that I am, and that consciousness is the freedom. But you're going to have it intense because you've got to re-experience that fear again and again to see it's not true. And I know the stories, which are the victim stories, are going to say, but I've seen this a million times. Why do I have to do this again? But that's a victim. It's like you don't get any way out. You don't get any way out of this. Like if you hadn't had been traumatized as a child and had those things happen as a child, then you wouldn't have that thought that says I can't do it. You'd have been of the more positive that says I can do it. And the people that say I can do it never actually question, and they just stay in their story. So it's great in a way that you have these things, feelings and thoughts coming up, but you have to keep going into it. This awakening is not an easy thing, and at the same time it's so natural and easy. But it's not easy because there has to be an investigation into that place, those places that haunt us. And has to be that breaking of the cycle of feeling victimized by life and feeling like you can't do it, or feeling exhausted by life, because it's not true. Nothing you think and feel is true. And in seeing it's not true, it might not all dissipate, but you'll remember that consciousness and that I am. That who you truly are is something that never moves and is always free, with all varieties of human experience and all flavors of this dream. Because this dream is the dream of opposites, birth and death, growth and destruction. So nobody gets a free pass through this dream. It's just some people get a free pass for a certain period of years. Especially the growing ones. Those are the ones that are most, that when you're growing and your brain is growing. Like when you have those shocks when you're younger. They're the ones that you really have to be like a warrior. You are not victim to anything. And I don't say that as in trying to dismiss what happened. I say it as in that this can be broken through. You have to see all the tricks that the mind is playing. All the tricks.
So I would just sit and revisit what.
Well,
I guess I'm asking you how to do it, which I shouldn't be doing, right?
Well, normally it depends on what mood I'm in as to how I answer. So what can happen is listening to non-duality. So listening to the non-duality, and then also you need to revisit some of the stuff that's stuck in your body. So when you're having thoughts like, I can't do this, or I can't hear this, or you're feeling stuck, you need to follow that into the body and see what's going on in the body and learn what's happening in the body and see that the feelings and thoughts are not true. They are not true. And there's lots of aids out there, so that's more psychological work, but also you can listen to my talks and other speakers' talks, but there's also other books that work on these difficult feelings in the body. And basically, it's not about getting rid of them. It's not about getting rid of them. It's about seeing that they're not true and not giving them the power. They get the power when they're believed to be true, when they're believed to be a reality. And they can be as subtle as I can't do this, or I don't know what she's talking about, I feel lost. Those feel like really real thoughts, but they're thoughts. Even that wall is blue behind you isn't true. It's a thought.
I mean, this has been seen really clearly, don't get me wrong. Like everything you're saying, there's been dips into this.
Yeah.
It's so obvious, and it's like, I guess there's the desire to, it seems like you live in it. You and a few others live there. There's a stabilization, is that correct? There's a stabilization in, say, the brain of Lisa as opposed to the brain of Zach?
Well, it's not really in the brain, but there was a movement that happened. But I still have to address difficult things in life. Like life doesn't just... I mean, some teachers say that it all becomes... In one way, you could say it all becomes like roses because it's seeing who you truly are, which is home, which is this moment. But there's still difficult things that have to be dealt with. Like life is always moving and always changing, and there can be difficult reactions that happen in Lisa, difficult feelings that happen, but it's seen so clearly who I am. And there's not this belief in separation anymore. The who I am is found inside this body. Who I am is this I am and this boundless consciousness. But the character of Lisa can go through difficult things. It's not escape from Lisa or from life on one side, but also it's a remembering of something that was forgotten.
I feel that. I felt that since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Home.
Yeah. And it's in what's happening. And you see those feelings of fear and those thoughts, they're always trying to move the energy into the next moment to get away from something. It's like they're running away. And so it's like seeing that they're not true and that there's something here that's always home and relaxed and free. But it's so subtle.
It is, and that's where I get frustrated.
No, the
Especially when the
frustration,
mind is busy.
you're not frustrated with non-duality. It's frustrated as a past pattern that's repeating. Frustration is an okay thing. I feel frustrated at points, but it's a past pattern that's repeating, that has belief in it, that's true. It's not seen for what it is, that it's only a sensation that comes and goes. That's it. It's not actually talking about what's happening. It's a biological sensation. So right now, what are you feeling? All over.
I don't know. I don't know. Wideness.
Largeness there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Weirdness. Disassociation. It's because of this conversation, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And what about the body? What's the body feelings? Is it cold, warm, tight?
Energy in the chest area.
Yeah. Is that painful or pleasurable?
It wants to move.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. It's so amazing though that all these feelings we're often so unconscious about. Like the body has all this sensation going on, and it's actually, the freedom is this movement back to what's actually happening, and the sensations of the body are what's happening. Like the sensations, you could say, are consciousness. All there is sensation happening. So the tip of your fingers now, the bum on the seat, the tightness in the chest. I have a full bladder, so that's what's happening here. So I just keep imagining water at the moment and my drink.
Gosh. Should start doing this from the bathroom.
I have a bathroom like a meter away, so
Oh, there you go.
I'm very close.
So it's just, yeah. I think any question I'm going to have is just an attempt
To get out, yeah.
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 I need to do the work. I guess it's.
But
you know,
don't
I've
be
always-
victim to that work. Don't let that work become something in which you're incapable of doing. Because this is the old mentality. This is where you'll get stuck. And the reason that I know it so well is because I don't know your story, but just from what you began to say, I kind of feel like I can more than likely relate. We are all so unique and so different, but it's this mentality of shock that you get as a child, and then you begin to feel like your mind gets into that mentality of it can't do things. So don't let non-duality become this big thing which you can't live up to, because that's not it. Everything is an invitation to investigate. Everything. Even that feeling that you can't do it, or feeling that you've got to do the work, is an investigation. That's the very investigation. The sensations that are appearing now, whatever they're telling you.
Also, and this is the last thing I'll say because I don't want to take up too much time. Is I guess this is an attempt to run too, but
It's okay.
I watch and listen to a lot of different teachers, and I don't know if you're familiar with Tony Parsons.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's very clear that he says there's no one here.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this in the chat briefly with some others. But it's like, how can a separate self that doesn't really exist? See, you're saying that I can do something to bring about this.
I kind of say it and I don't. I say it and then I debunk it, because actually there isn't somebody there that can do something. But, so saying now, have you got, so if I told you something from your table, more than likely that body would pick it up.
Yeah.
Now we take that as free will and our choice to do something, but actually it's not. It's an instrument that's responding. So actually I'm not actually speaking to someone, I'm not giving instruction to someone. You could say it's not a prescription, it's actually a description of what can happen. And what seems to happen prior to awakening, including in Tony Parsons, is the investigation into the nature of reality. but it's actually never someone's doing.
Yes, and I see that very clearly almost all the time. It's so obvious that there's no free will.
But you've got to be careful. If you're more of got low, you've got to be careful not to be victimized by nobody is doing anything, and let it become, and not become an excuse to be apathetic. It's like the person takes on anything they can to maintain its stories. And it's true, but just be wary that nothing's true also, and that the person is always trying to maintain its habits and its safety out of only because it's used to that, not because it produces pleasure in you, but because it's used to it. So people take this idea that there is no doer or there's nothing to do, and they almost use it as a way to beat themselves up. I see it so regularly. It's why I began to change speaking over the last couple of years. And more than likely I'll begin to find a fault in the way I speak now, and eventually I'll change from that. It seems to be what you have to do as a speaker. You have to keep changing it because people just take things on for themselves. So you always have to question and go into the feelings. The feelings will tell you what you're doing. Like keep taking it back always. What does this make me feel? When I say there is nobody, what does that make me feel? Sometimes it's like a sadistic feeling, that you're beating yourself up. When I say there is no doer or there is nothing to do, what's that making me feel? Like it's like, what are these things actually making me feel? What am I relating to them? Because it's not actually the person that wakes up. It's that space that's beyond the person. It's that which never leaves. But the person has to deal with itself to a certain extent. Otherwise it will just keep staying in its story. So what are you feeling now? What happened then? What thoughts appeared?
It's just clarity.
Yeah.
And something's breaking a little, in a good way. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Nice to speak with you. Finally, I think after last week we kept trying and it kept dying. So nice. Ah, thanks. Thanks for calling, Zach.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, I just go to the toilet and then I'll answer one more question. How's the sound tonight? I've changed the setup. It'd be better if I had my computer higher and then I would look more in the screen for the speakers. So if you believe that you're getting energy from my eyes, you can get satisfied, you can get your money's worth, except you're not paying, so you can get your hour's worth, your time's worth. Hey, beauty. Hey. Hey. You did so much today, didn't you? My body's tired. Hey, Lisa, this is from Keith. Hello. Oh, you can hear me. I have a question from Monday's one-to-one session. Is the aim of non-duality some kind of improvement, but the method is to ready to give up any idea of ultimate improvement. I have a question from Nonduality. Is the aim of non-duality some kind of improvement? No, the aim of non-duality is coming back to a stillness that's always present, to this presence, this I am, this beingness that's always here, this vastness. It's a remembering of something that's only present, that everything else comes and goes in, this experiencing that's not a thing, that doesn't belong to you, you appear in it. And when you're waking up, what seems to happen is there is a level of understanding yourself and a level of looking at your seeking. And the seeking is coming from lack. I am not enough, like you say, and fear. That I'm afraid to be alive. Is it what's happening? What's it? Is it what's really being looked for? What's happening to... Yeah, what is really what's looked for. But the person, there is this energy when the person is separate that feels like something's missing. So it's always tense, even if it's a little tiny seed, and it's always looking to the next moment to get it, where there's a home here that's free in all sensations, in all emotional reactions, in all behaviors. Hey, Git. A thought that keeps coming across my mind. I'm coming to a retreat on Saturday to cry and cry and cry and cry more. Then it cannot be planned. A lot of crying seems to be waiting at the door to come in or to go out. Truth, Gert. Yeah, that can happen. Must go. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Julio. Hi, Lisa. That's really lovable about you, being fully human. It takes away a lot of pressure from me of being something that I'm not. Thanks for being you. Oh, with pleasure, Joss. I really try to be as honest about everything that goes on here as possible. So, and to show as much as can be. Hey, Michelle. Hi, Alango. Your sound is good. Thanks, Ramon. You need to fix your sound, though. Hi, Angie. Well, thanks so much for sharing this, for these talks. You said earlier on that you are still working off karma. How can it be that you're still working off karma if you have realized? Oh, Angie. Yeah. That's just to do with what your ideas of awakening is. So enlightenment, Ramesh Balsakos used to say, enlightenment is not a certified event. So enlightenment is whatever we as human give it value to, just like money, just like anything, and whatever you perceive enlightenment to be. So if you perceive enlightenment to be a human that has no conditioning and well, I don't understand, has no conditioning, or I don't know what it is that you believe enlightenment to be, then that's your goal and your idea of enlightenment. And that's what you will always try to be living up to. But listen, really listen to what the teachers say. And karma in this world will never end. Karma belongs with this world. So really listen to what the speakers say. Can a tree never not be the formation of a tree? Can it ever fly like a bird? Can the wind become the sunlight? Can the house become a mountain? Ultimately, eventually, yes, because everything is circular, so everything is changing one thing to another, but all forms are conditioned. And your dream of getting out of a conditioned form isn't anything to do with enlightenment. It's to do with not liking yourself and wishing that you didn't exist. Not you as in the big waking up, but you as this form. And this really is coming back to falling in love with this form as it is in all its nakedness, with fear, jealousy, happiness, excitement, sadness, all of it. You know, I look at my dog Khaleesi and I spend all my time with her, and I'm so in love with her in all her perfections and imperfections. And that's true love. That's really what true awakening is. Well, true awakening according to Lisa's definition of it. If your version of awakening or enlightenment is different, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just trying to express this version. You have your dreams, and if that's your dream of what it is. But enlightenment here is being fully yourself and not being perfect, not living off all your karmas. That's in the world where you actually want power over other things. This is about the vulnerability of yourself. And so I look at Khaleesi with all her little tics and her behaviors. Like today, she was trying to have sex with a boy dog in the middle of the street while everyone was looking. And then when the guy tried to grab her, she barked at the guy. And then her chasing the cat. But she's actually super well behaved. I can't really complain. She's a really sweet dog. But I love her with all of her qualities. And this is what's got to begin to happen, is that you don't see yourself as something to get rid of. You fall in love with yourself again. And that's where you disappear. When you no longer try to seek getting out of this machine. That's when you disappear, and that's when full realization happens. Or true realization happens, according to the Lisa certificate program. I don't mean to be arrogant to anyone else's version. Whatever they say their version is, then that's their version. And if some people say that it's the end of having any karma or any conditioning, then that's what they say. And if that's what you believe, then they're obviously the teacher for you. That's not wrong or bad. It's just different. So Angie, I hope I answered your question. I don't think you are listening anymore because you didn't respond. So as we end on this note of falling in love with yourself, then we're going to do the quote from Her, which I've done so many times, but I love it so much. So Her is a really beautiful film that I recommend that you watch. And also so people understand what I mean by karma. Karma isn't, I don't mean it in the Buddhist sense, or I don't mean it in the Advaitic sense. The way I use karma, and I sometimes presume you guys listen all the time, or listen to these videos before so you know it. Karma, I mean, is movement. Karma is one thing to another to another. Karma is patterns to me. Karma is the pattern. So karma isn't something that if you kick someone in the arse, someone will kick you in the arse. Or if you're a bad person, something bad will happen to you. But that's often the pattern of things. So if you thump someone in the face, there's a good chance they'll thump you back, or the police will come and put you in prison. So if you yell at someone, then more than likely they'll yell at you. If you give someone flowers, there's a good chance they'll give you flowers back. But it's not as simple as that. But it's patterns. This is what I mean by karma. So, anyway, back to the film Her. So this is this beautiful film called Her. And basically this is the speech she has at the end. And he says to her, he says to the computer, it's confusing, but he says to, so the computer is leaving. I won't call it computer, but her is leaving. I can't be bothered to explain the whole film, but she's leaving. And he says, "Why are you leaving me?" And she says, "Because I began to fall in love with our story so much that I began to read it so slowly. And the slower and slower I read it, the bigger and bigger the gaps between the words became, until eventually they were infinite spaces. And this is where I reside now." It's so beautiful. Okay, guys, I am off for dinner. That's enough for tonight. I send you lots of love, and I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks on retreat. So please check my website the next time to see when the next stream is. So let me have a look on my diary. I think the next stream will be Wednesday, the 15th of March, I think. Okay, thank you very much for everybody's openness and honestness and willingness to be vulnerable and to share. Thank you. Bye.